This is an audio edition of Maximizing Moments with Milton, an international speaker, author, trainer, and coach. Learn more by going to www.miltonherring.com and get more inspiration and insights. Now, enjoy this episode.
Hey Maximizers, hope you guys are doing excellent today. This is Milton Herring, MiltonHerring.com. Thanks for joining me in this 2-on-1 episode of Maximizing Moments with Milton. And I've got Chris Wilberding, who's joined me today, all the way from the Midwest. And I'm going to have him share a little bit more about his background. But quickly, I'm going to give a little bit brief synopsis of his bio. Chris he's actually a current co-author of the book Positivity Tribe. He has also positively impacted over 100,000 students. That is amazing. And throughout your career doing that is something to be proud of. Currently, he is vice president of student onboarding and retention at 2U Inc., and also co-author of the Positivity Tribe, as we talked about before. Yep. He's very passionate about people, person, and passion itself, and we're going to have him give us a little bit more about his background, catch us up to today. Chris, I'm just so excited for today because I love this topic, Positivity Tribe, which is what I'm all about, and I know we're gonna vibe today. So catch us up to today as far as your background and how you even got to this point.
This is a 25 to 30 minute podcast, right?
Yeah,
man. so
two-part.
first and foremost, Milton, appreciate you having me on. Great opportunity to just connect. I am in the Midwest. I'm in a northern suburb of Chicago. Libertyville, Illinois, about 15 minutes from the Wisconsin border. I'm a Midwesterner at heart, born and raised in Ohio. How did I get to this point today? As a 50-year-old vice president of a company, I started out as a school teacher, and I found my way through teaching, education, and coaching. I've always been in the education space and just knew from a very young age that I wanted to impact others' lives. And I found the best way for me to do it was either in teaching, coaching athletics, or coaching individuals in their business career.
Wow, that is awesome. Thanks for your time as an educator. That is a job sometime that's not recognized. But right now, education is a big hot topic. I know we try to get into all of that, but being a teacher, whether you're doing it online or in person, or if you're a homeschool
Right.
parent, we appreciate and just do salute all of our educators out there and administrators as well. So, and I know that being in education and being a teacher, being a coach, does spark a lot of interest. You've probably seen a lot of different children, students over the years that have been that are needing truly a positive message. Can you just kind of jump into that a little bit as far
Sure.
as maybe some of the pain that you've probably felt or seen that's kind of also led you writing this book and co-authoring that?
I'd be glad to. I think it was, if we go back to 1999, I left college coaching to move to Chicago to work with inner city youth. That was my objective. I wanted to go work someplace that I knew I could make an impact. And what I realized at that time, Milton, when I started working in Chicago, inner city Chicago, was that had these students grown up in the environment that I grew up in, and vice versa, if I grew up in their environment, we could have just completely flipped. They weren't deep down, we're all the same. But these kids had seen a world that I could never have imagined it at that time. 13, 14-year-old kids living in inner city Chicago, not having a good, solid upbringing at times, but seeing things on the streets that me, growing up in a small town in Western Ohio with two parents that are educators, telling you if you flipped it, we would have been in completely different situations. And I could very easily see how those young people made the choices they had made. At that moment, I started to believe that I could make a change and make an impact. But really what kicked in was about 3 years ago for me. So fast forward almost 15 years, and I had a moment, an epiphany, if you will, that my superpower is that I can make people feel better with a positive environment and that energy that I bring, right? So being positive is a mindset, but it's also contagious. And when you're around people that are happy, that are positive, that are optimistic in nature, it brings that source of energy and enthusiasm to yourself. So what I tried to do about 3 years ago is just begin, all my social media has been flooded with positivity for the last 3.5 years. And the beautiful part of it is it's all come full circle for me with our first book that Christopher Worth and I put out just a few weeks ago. It's all about positivity, but it focuses on a story about students in high school. So it's my world collectively into one piece of work.
Wow, that's amazing, and the world needs some a positive message today more than ever. Chris, you know, you're talking about the inner city youth kids. What are some of the barriers if you were to help other people break down that stigma, to break down the mental barriers that keeps them from seeing the inner city kids as humans, as people that just maybe need a help or understanding their point of perception and point of view and where they've come from? How could you help somebody kind of walk through that a little bit?
I think you have to have an open mind. You have to be understanding, and you have to listen. Key thing is listening and learning, and putting yourself in a situation to seek out. I'll even say advice, right? Seek out opportunities to learn, because again, I live in the suburbs. It's a different world than inner city Chicago. I live 25 minutes from Kenosha, Wisconsin. You know, I try to educate my own children in what's going on in the world. But until I understand what other people are going through, I'll never be able to relate, right? So listen, keep an open mind, and most importantly, Milton, have an open heart, right? And realize that the environment is often the most difficult thing for people to overcome. And however we can help individuals, we have to do our best to try, right? Yeah. And we're not gonna solve all these problems in a very quick period of time. We've got to be able to do this. This is a mindset change. I can't even get into it because I get really frustrated that we haven't been able to overcome some of the things that have now reared their head today. We've been talking about this for decades, if not generations. So we have to be better at understanding, listening, learning, and keeping that open mind and open heart.
And that's the biggest key of listening, and
Yeah.
without prejudgment of anything, but just being an open, like you said, having an open heart, open mind, and just willing to listen. Because honestly, you're right. You know, we've been going through this for a long time, and things that have been going on, and now we're at a head where it's like, okay, it's on the table now, and where do we go from here? And that's one of the biggest things. And I think your book, the Positivity Tribe, is one of those things that kind of helps be a catalyst and bring in that change that's needed in our culture and society. Would you be willing to share any parts of the book, that story from the book that really is impactful to our audience today?
So let me give you the overall theme, because I think that where it's most powerful is in its basic fundamental belief.
Okay.
So the setting is in a high school, 3 students going through some difficult times in their life. We didn't try to conquer or overcome the most difficult challenges, but they're going through getting cut from a basketball team, maybe a family divorce. And what they realize is that by making a choice, instead of going down a negative path, they teach other people how to be positive with the tools that they utilize and develop on their own to come out on the other side and help people one person at a time, right? One action at a time, to see the world in a more positive light. This book, Christopher Worth and I have been friends just for over about 15 months. But this book was, the idea behind it didn't come to us until March or April. We knew that our world needed more positivity, but this story in its own right has been developed over years, but was put together very quickly. And what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from people is it's a reminder that a positive action, being kind, smiling, saying hello to people, can make all the difference in the world. It's not that difficult to have a positive mindset. You just have to want to make that effort to pay it forward. And the power of positivity works with one person at a time.
And that's awesome, and I know a lot of our viewers and listeners are going to be really encouraged by this book as well, because who hasn't gone through high school and haven't experienced somebody that's made some wrong decisions, even if it's post high school, thinking about a time in college and being on a sports team and having some teammates make some really poor decisions, all based off of a lack of positivity in their life, and acting out some of that anger and those issues that so many of us could actually be a catalyst to actually change and help them overcome and conquer.
You know, real quick, Milton, I think a real key for people is to understand is that we're not positive because we're naive that there aren't issues going on around us, right? We're not positive because we have this Pollyanna view. I think John Gordon says it best. We're not naive. We don't have Pollyanna views. We're positive because we know life is hard. We have a choice every single day.
Every moment,
right?
yes.
You wake up every morning and your feet hit the ground. You can be grateful, first and foremost, for another opportunity to do what you were put on this earth to do, right? And second, you have that choice. Am I going to have a positive outlook or a negative outlook, regardless of what happens to you? And then how that plays out in the book is really, this book can be of value to everyone. I've got a great friend of mine. He's a little bit older than I am, but he just said this book is meant for all ages to be reminded of the positive outlook and a positive approach, even if they're experienced in the professional world. If they're grandparents, it's something they can share with youth, and for youth, it's something they can take with them for the rest of their lives. So I don't want to just say it's for middle school and high school or college students. The message is lifelong and for everyone.
Oh, I agree. And just to piggyback when you said, it's not about having your head in the sand, right? It's not about truly being naive about what's going on around us and even within us. It's really, like you say, it's all a choice. And for me, it wasn't a choice that maybe was the easiest right off, but it was something that was developed over time that, I had to keep checking myself and keep reading or keep listening and keep diluting all the pollution that was going on inside of me. And that's really one of the things that really kind of helps me as be a catalyst to stay positive, and I'm sure yourself as well. And association is one of those big keys as well. Who we hang out with is a really determining factor of how we stay positive as well.
As we say, your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct. Your vibe does attract your tribe. I might tweet that later, but
it's not mine. You can share it all you want.
Share it. Okay. Awesome. So right now, so the book is you launched the book a few weeks ago, and we're right now. Yeah, it's the landscape is in a high school, but like I say, it can cross genres and generations, as well as a message that needs to go out. Have you found? Let me ask you this: have you found any pushback on the positive message at all?
I haven't.
Good.
I hear it every once in a while, like you can't always be positive, right? And that's true, right? I mean, I'll be upfront and honest. I had a long day yesterday, right? And I reached out to a former boss of mine. I almost called him an old boss, but that's not accurate. My former boss of mine, and I just needed to chat. Right? It was a long day, work-wise, personal-wise. I wasn't feeling it, right? We're all going to have those days. And as long as you acknowledge that positivity is something that can help you impact others, and it doesn't have to impact, it's not going to impact you every moment of every day, right? Your diet probably has a bigger impact on how you feel sometimes, right? If you get some exercise, which I didn't eat well yesterday. I didn't work out yesterday. I didn't thank as many people as I should yesterday. And all of a sudden I was having a bad day, right? So my point in saying all that is there pushback? Not really. But they're like, how do you always have a good attitude? And I'm like, I have a choice, right? Because bad will happen. But how do you overcome that to be successful, and however you define success?
Right. And I don't want to move past. You said something. You said you didn't thank enough people yesterday. Explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the act of gratitude is something that can put you in a different mindset just by jotting down a few things you're grateful for each day. But there's also an opportunity that you have to reach out to someone and just to tell them thank you, whether it's somebody on social media, whether it's your child, your kids, your mother, your father, your wife, your partner. There are certain things, no matter how big or how small, that are being done for you on a daily basis that we need to be grateful for, right? And to say thank you. And I'll tell you, when somebody thanks me, it makes me feel really good. And imagine what it does when Milton Herring hears from Chris Wilberding in a couple of days, right, with a thank you note that says, I appreciate the time that we spent together. It's been great sharing our knowledge and sharing our word. That's an uplifting moment for people. And I think it's something that's very valuable in our life today.
And I'm not going to say that I originated this quote, but I heard it's called a thank you economy. I don't know if that's, and it truly is. There is a thank you economy out there. for people like you that are listening, and us here, that if you're thanking people genuinely out of the heart, not just out of lip service, but truly you're grateful for them, and there's so much that can be invested from that, just that intent. And so I want to encourage everyone to be grateful and find somebody to thank today. Tomorrow, if you wake up, there's so much to be thankful for. I'm married with 5 children, and I thank my children for being my children, right? I mean, I'm grateful for them. They've made me the man that I am today, the father I am, and I continually grow as they grow. And so it's a journey for sure. But I'm thankful for those people and in my life and my family and work co-workers, etc. So find people today. Think about somebody outside of yourself. So that's great to know. Yeah, you're right. Food, exercise, diet, it will impact you. It truly will. And that's one of those things that I don't talk a whole lot on these shows, but and I've had people on that have been experts in fitness, but nutrition and talk about sleep and food and diet, and it's important because it does impact you for sure. Thanks for appreciate you sharing that, Chris.
No, absolutely. That's what we're here to do.
So what are we going from here as far as a positive reach? What's the whole goal? What do you want to see done with this book and the movement? What is something you really want to get at?
I like the word movement. I really like that. The Positivity Tribe is something that we would love to see working with organizations, with educators, and developing different programs across schools. Candidly, I'm just going to put it out there. We're looking to work with middle schools and high schools, colleges, athletic teams, because the impact that a positive mindset can have isn't just in your day-to-day life, but it's also a holistic approach to help your team, your tribe, the people on your bus, whatever it may be. I don't know any great people that have been pessimists, right? I don't know any successful people in the world that were half empty. So if we can continue to believe and understand that optimists are the most successful in long term, I think that's part of the Positivity Tribe memo. But it's pay it forward one person at a time, inspire, encourage, be grateful, and then the biggest thing is let's do this together, man. Let's take this thing to 50 states, right? Let's take this around the world, but let's do it in a brotherhood and a sisterhood of educators, coaches, teachers, anybody that wants to get involved. We are looking to spread the word as much as possible, because we do know it's needed, especially now, but always.
Yes, and then hope is another word that comes to me. I think we need to be hope givers as well, and that's what you are, Chris. You're a hope giver, and with this book and this movement, those that are listening, Maximizers, please, let's be a callus and throw some gasoline on the fire of what's happening right now with this positive tribe, this positive movement, being optimistic, bring hope, bringing life to the world. And that's one of the biggest things. So I appreciate you sharing that, Chris. And I'll be here to help you. And on these Maximizers, will be able to be here to help this movement as well. Want to transition though, as we talk about to a Maximizing Moment podcast. I hope you're ready for these questions I got for you, Chris.
I may need a drink of water here. Hold on. I heard your audience really likes these questions.
Yes.
So I better wet my whistle a little bit.
There you go. There you go. All right. Question number 1 for you, Chris. Give me your favorite quote and explain why and how it helps you.
All right. So this was my favorite question. So I've been asked this several times. It's a little bit of a long quote, but I just want you to hear me out, okay?
Okay.
It's Vin Scully, the former broadcaster for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think he was the only announcer that the Dodgers ever had in LA until he stepped down. But his quote has hit me for years, and I have to read it because it's a little bit long. But when my time on this earth comes to pass, I hope people and want people to say that I was a good husband, a good father, and a good man. Anything else they say about me will not matter. Now, how do you unpack all of that on this podcast and all the Maximizers? How does this hit me? I got to be a good husband. I got to be a good father. I got to be a good man, right? It's the most powerful quote I've ever heard, because all the stuff we focus on, the Joneses, the cars, the houses, the end of the day, none of that's going to matter, man. Right? It's going to matter the impact you had on that individual that you're with in that moment. And this comes through my head quite often. And it allows me to remember what I'm here for and what I'm here to do. Right. So now the maximizing quote, if you want me to hit you on for that, this is a recent one from Colin Powell. Perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. So there's two. I mean, you asked one. I gave you.
Oh yeah, you threw some dessert on that. That's good. I love that, Chris. Repeat that one from Colin Powell again.
Yep. Perpetual optimism is a force multiplier.
Perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. I love that. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's the one that for the maximizers out there. That's the one you hang your hat on. But you asked me my favorite quote, and I could not go another minute without sharing that Vin Scully quote because I just think it's so impactful and powerful.
And if it's ringing in your head every day, that's what guides you, right? That's your mission.
Right.
That's your mission every single day. Thanks for sharing that, Chris. Appreciate
You bet.
that. Here's the second one. Give me a moment where when looking back, you let slip away and it impacted your life at some level.
So this is going in the Wayback Machine. I may not look it, but I was a better than average high school golfer. And in high school as a junior, I qualified for state tournament, did very well. My senior year going in, I was expecting big things. I had some distractions, right? I don't want to get into what they were. I don't want to get into, but I allowed myself to stay away from what I was wanting to focus on, which was achieving my goal to be the best golfer, the best version of the person that I would become someday, right? As I look back, golf is a game of honor. It's a game of trust. It's a game of respect. And as I think about that senior year of high school, it was a difficult time because I did not achieve at the levels I wanted to. And it impacted me not just as a athlete, but it impacted me as a person. But what I've grown, what it's allowed me to do is realize that goals and your success are controlled by you, not by the distractions around you. Those distractions may come, but you have to control the controllables, right? What's in your wheelhouse is what you can focus on. And if it was so darn important to me, I should have not gotten distracted. So 30 plus years later, here I am. I still get distracted at times, but I know I've been through it multiple times in my life. But that's the one that I look back on and I say, if I'd have just gotten that a little sooner, could have had a bigger impact on where I am today. Not that I love where I am today, but it could have been a more impactful moment at that time for me.
Understood. Thanks for sharing that. And I think maximizers, you'll know people when we talk about kids in high school, college, that they're distracted and it might need you to jump in and show them a hand, give them some direction if they're willing to accept it. But thanks for sharing that, Chris.
You bet.
Next question. Have you ever had a time where you knew there was more for you to do in life or accomplish, but were in a position or job or career that didn't quite line up with that? How did you maximize that moment?
As I read this question again, it makes me a little bit more anxious, my man. So prior to the current role that I'm in, as you mentioned, I work for a company called 2U. We help people achieve their personal and professional goals in the higher education space. But prior to this position, I worked for a company that opened high school dropout recovery centers across the country. And we had opened 22 of them across the nation. And I've impacted a lot of students, a lot of young people's lives. And I say young people because now I'm impacting people from 25 to 40 that are working for us and with us, right? But that last job was the most rewarding thing I've ever done because I was able to see high school dropouts come back to school and earn a high school diploma and go on and do amazing things. It was truly it was a blessing. It was amazing work. It was hard work, but it was a fantastic opportunity. It's sometimes in your career, though, Milton, you have to make a decision that while that's going really well, sometimes you have to make a decision of what's in the best interest of you and your family, right? And at the time, I made the decision to join the company I'm with today. And in retrospect, I loved what I did with Edison Learning and Bridgescape dropout recovery centers. But my move to Trilogy and now 2U has allowed me to be the husband, father, and man that I wanted to be. More present with my family, more present with my wife, been able to do things for them and for us that allows us to continue living the life we want to live, but also be an example to those young people in my house. And then, it was something that was difficult to leave and difficult to not think about anymore. But I'm very happy I made that move. But it was tough. It's emotional. Milton, you strike me as an individual that pours his heart and soul into everything. I'm the same way, brother. Right? So, when something that you put everything into and you move on from it, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because you're loyal to it. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, as an athlete, yeah. As a coach, yep.
That's right.
Thanks for sharing that. Next question for you, Chris. Do you have a story or time that when maximize the moment was important or meaningful to you?
Yeah, I think this one hit me just a few weeks ago, and I'm going to go back to the book. Right, my father asked me a couple years ago, Chris, you think you ever write a book? And I was like, about what? Right. But I have a person in my life, my mother, who also wrote a book back when I was in college. And I just posted it recently on social media. I had a moment that her book was entitled, I Hated You Because You Were My Favorite Teacher. Mm-hmm. Right. The students, she was difficult, man. She was really successful, but she was an old school educator, and she still is. She's a wonderful person. But I saw those two books side to side. When I say, why is this something that a story about maximizing a moment? My mom put her heart and soul into that book. She put everything she had, and she didn't have the opportunity to share it like we do today. Right. So the message of the Positivity Tribe to me is about maximizing a moment that my mom didn't have. She didn't have social media. She didn't have the opportunity to connect with Milton Herring on a podcast to spread the word. So this is a moment that I've built, and Chris Worth and I have built over the last 18 months together and over a lifetime of not knowing each other, to come together and do something that we believe we were truly put here to do.
Love it.
So this is it. This is my maximizing moment, man.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So that leads to my next question. How would you define a maximizing moment?
So as you've heard, or I believe you quoted a little bit ago, I fundamentally believe that people are put on this earth with one purpose, right? And when they gain their greatest happiness, their passion impacts others in a positive way, right? So those 4 Ps. So to me, that's maximizing moment, right? It's when you identify what you are here to do. Identify. Simon Sinek calls it your why. Some people will say you have to know your what before you can identify your why. But maximizing a moment is when everything comes together and you know that that's why you're here, to deliver upon in that moment. Hopefully you have multiple opportunities. Professionally, I just changed roles in my current job, right? I have an opportunity to assist more students achieve their personal and professional goals than I did in my last role. As a husband of 18 years, my wife and I, our life is a maximizing moment, right? We're maximizing the best of our abilities to help our 2 young children become the best they can, right? Yeah. So I take a broader approach at that term, but I just think that you have to, the 4 Ps, man. Once people find their purpose and they can connect that with their passion, they're going to make an impact in a positive way. And that to me is maximizing a moment.
Love it. Love that definition. Thanks, Chris. That was a good one. That was a good one. Now I'm going to ask you, we're all about actionable steps as well, something practical that the Maximizers can take home. But if you could share 3 immediate action steps to take for a person to maximize a defining moment in their life, what would that be?
Can I make it 4?
I'll give you. You gave me 2 good quotes. I'll give you 4.
So this is a little bit around what I'm trying to come up with the catchphrase over the top of all this. But it's really around, there's 4 steps to it. And I'm calling it right now 4 steps to personal clarity, right? It was 4 steps to how to survive COVID, right? When I first came up with it. But so first and foremost, take a deep breath, right? Get yourself centered. And this is at any point when you're feeling stressed, when you've got something going on. But take that moment and take a deep breath, right? And get some clarity around what you're thinking about, what you're trying to accomplish. Next is to embrace the pace of the world today and the world around you, right? For some it's going fast, for some it's going slow, but you have to identify what that pace is for you. How fast do I want to move forward? How slowly can I advance with and still be successful? Then it's all about focusing on when, right? What's important now, right? There are certain things that are important today that won't be in a week, that won't be in a month, that won't be in a year. What's important in this moment? Let's attack that head on. So it's take a deep breath, embrace the pace, focus on what's important now. And the last one, I have to say this, but it is number 4. It's be positive, right? So those are my 4. I've been sharing that out a little bit, quite a bit, maybe too much sometimes.
It's a great outline. Yeah.
You have to take, in my opinion, you've got to have something to be able to center yourself and focus. But those are action steps that allow you to define something in your life. But what's important now is because what's important to me at 50 years old is completely different than what it was at 49 years old.
Right.
Just 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I gave you 4.
That's good. That's good, Chris. Those were good ones. Good 4. I hope you guys wrote those down, Maximizers. Thanks for that.
Yep.
Well, do you have any, Chris? Do you have any parting words, any comments or instruction for the audience you want to share? I'll give you a couple minutes to do that.
So I feel like I've been like a walking billboard for everything I want to talk about and sharing the last 2 minutes of this. My biggest takeaway for each of you, or my biggest desire for each of you, is to find your purpose, is to find what you're here to do. And if you can write it down, journal it, think about it, there will be something that comes to your mind, right, that you can't get out, right? And that's probably going to be it. You just have to take a chance, take a leap of faith. I did this for 2 weeks over the holidays last year. I wrote down everything I could think about for the last 27 years of my career, and I consolidated it all into, a passion project that I'm still developing. But this is a marathon, folks, right? It's a marathon. Take your time, focus on your purpose, and then make sure that the impact you're going to make is the one you want it to.
That's what I'm all about, man. Finding your purpose, finding your why in life, and a lot of things will come into play and come into focus. I think that's the biggest thing. Come into focus. So, thanks for sharing that. How can the Maximizers find you? Where do you want them to find you at? And kind of give us some of your tags and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's so funny. What's your Instagram handle? I feel like it's like 1978 again. CB radios. So I'm on. I think the 2 best places to follow are Instagram. I post it on a daily basis. It's at C Wilberding. All these are pretty simple.
Okay.
And then also on Twitter, but that's more for my own pleasure and learning. I do tag some things in there. I'm very active on LinkedIn, which is just my first and last name, and then Facebook is morphed into more about what more of what we're trying to accomplish as part of the Positivity Tribe. And so anything with C Wilberding or Chris Wilberding across those 4 platforms. The Positivity Tribe book, here's a plug for you.
Yeah.
It's available at any online bookseller that's available. So Amazon Books, A Million Indie Books. It's all at Barnes & Noble online. It's available out there. Would love for people to read it. And you can reach out to me directly, right? I mean, the best way to get a hold of me if you want to talk to me is either my email, right? But that's not personal sometimes. But the email that I prefer for that is actually chris419project@gmail.com. Again, that's chris419project@gmail.com. And then this is the move that you haven't heard too many people make, Milton. My cell phone number.
Oh.
If you want to text me and you want to reach out, I'll give it to you. 773-617-9484. Love to talk to you. Love to hear from you. What I'm about right now is helping one person at a time.
Yeah.
That's it. So those are the best places to get a hold of us. But would really love to talk to anybody that wants to learn more about the Positivity Tribe and all we can do to help people see the world in just a little bit different lens.
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much. Maximizers, Chris has laid it all out there on the line for you. He's given emails, he's given phone numbers, and you got the social media handles that you could use to find him and what he's doing. And I'm going to tell you, Maximizers, when I talk about a genuine man, I've had a few conversations with Chris. He is a genuine man, and very loving, very forgiving. And again, he has gone through life and experiences, and it's all brought him up to today to be the man that he is. And I agree that if you join his movement and his tribe, that you're not going to be disappointed at all. You really are going to be blessed. And and again, Maximizers, why I do these podcasts and I have these interviews is to maximize any given moment in your life towards success. So I want to thank you for joining us today. Chris, thanks for your time, my friend.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much.
All right, man. God bless you. Maximizers, check us out, miltonherring.com as well, and we'll see you soon. If you've enjoyed this episode, thank you for sharing on your social media streams, giving me a like, comment, thumbs up, whatever you can do to help encourage myself and also help encourage someone else by passing this along. Milton Herring at miltonherring.com. Sign up for my latest Maximizers Digest by placing your email and name, and you will get that every week in your inbox. God bless you guys.